Humans have satellites. Humans have DNA sequencing. Humans have cameras in every single pocket on Earth. And somehow, we still can't get one clear photo of Bigfoot. Not one. Just 40 years of blurry footage that looks like a guy in a gorilla suit walking away from a lawsuit. Let's talk about cryptids, the creatures science says don't exist, and humanity refuses to let go of anyway. Starting with the most famous one on the list, Bigfoot. 8 feet tall, covered in hair, allegedly living in the forests of North America, successfully avoiding every trail camera, drone, and hunter for over a century. Think about that. An 8-foot animal needing thousands of calories a day, leaving 0 bones, 0 bodies, 0 verified skeletons. The single greatest hide-and-seek champion in the history of biology. Meanwhile, my dog gets spotted by the neighbors every time he sneaks into the yard next door. Bigfoot's diet, apparently, includes berries, small mammals, and one entire tabloid industry. Here's the part most people don't know. The FBI has an actual declassified Bigfoot file. In 1976, they analyzed hair and skin samples sent in by a cryptid research group using real federal lab equipment on a federal budget. The verdict came back deer. Somewhere, a taxpayer funded a very expensive way to confirm a deer is, in fact, a deer. Next, the Loch Ness Monster, a plesiosaur allegedly surviving in a Scottish lake since the age of dinosaurs, undetected for 66 million years. A lake that gets sonar scanned by tourists on a pontoon boat twice a day, every summer. Nessie has outsmarted marine biologists, submarines, and an entire tourism board that desperately wants her to be real because she's worth about $80 million a year in gift shop sales. At this point, Nessie isn't a cryptid. Nessie is a small business. The most famous photo of her, the one everyone's grandmother has seen, was later confessed to be a toy submarine with a sculpted head glued on top. A grown man built a monster out of a bathtub toy, and it fooled the entire planet for 60 years. Now let's go somewhere darker, the Chupacabra, Spanish for goat sucker. A creature blamed for drained, mutilated livestock across Latin America and parts of the American South. Reports describe it as reptilian, spiked, and roughly the size of a large dog. Scientists looked at actual Chupacabra carcasses recovered by farmers and found something slightly less mysterious. Coyotes with mange. A skin condition. That's the entire monster. An animal loses its fur. Its skin gets weird, it starts looking unfamiliar in the dark, and suddenly, it's a blood-drinking cryptid instead of a very sick dog that needed a vet, not a folklore. Alright, quick pause. Let's rank what you've heard so far by actual evidence quality. Bigfoot, thousands of blurry photos, 0 bones. Nessie, 1 confessed toy submarine. Chupacabra, a skin rash with a marketing problem. Current leader in most credible cryptid is, somehow, still nobody. Moving on, Mothman, West Virginia, a humanoid creature with glowing red eyes and enormous wings, seen repeatedly in the months before a bridge collapsed in 1967, killing 46 people. Witnesses describe him as a silent, winged figure, watching from the shadows, offering no warning, no explanation, just presence, which is either evidence of a supernatural omen or evidence that a large owl seen at night, under stress, will absolutely wreck your grip on reality. Here's the wow part. The town didn't just survive the tragedy. It built Mothman a 12-foot metal statue, launched an annual festival, and now sells more Mothman merchandise per year than most actual tourist attractions in the state. One legend, one bridge collapse, and an entire regional economy. New Jersey has its own problem. The Jersey Devil, born, according to legend, as the 13th child of a woman who cursed her own pregnancy out loud and got exactly what she asked for. Hooves, wings, a horse-like head, a scream that's echoed through the Pine Barrens since the 1700s, 300 years of sightings, 0 photographs that don't look like a deer having a bad day. New Jersey's NHL team is literally named after it, which is either the ultimate honor or proof nobody there has feared it in decades. Wait, this next one is different from every cryptid on this list so far. The Yeti's most famous proof wasn't a sighting, it was a footprint, photographed in the snow by an explorer in 1951, studied by scientists for decades. treated as the single best piece of physical cryptid evidence on Earth. It was a fox track, melted, widened, and reshaped by direct sunlight until a 4-inch paw print looked exactly like a giant barefoot human stride. Decades of expeditions funded by that one photo of a fox taking a walk. The Skinwalker deserves a different tone entirely, rooted in Navajo tradition, describing a malevolent being capable of taking the shape of any animal. This isn't tourist folklore invented for gift shops. It's a real spiritual belief tied to real cultural and religious meaning, and the internet turned it into a Halloween costume anyway. Some stories deserve curiosity, not content. Quick round now. 3 fast ones. The Dover Demon, Massachusetts, 1977. 4 teenagers, one single night. A small hairless creature with glowing orange eyes. Never seen again. 50 years of documentaries from one night of sightings. The Fresno Nightcrawler, 2 spindly legs, no visible head, filmed on a home security camera in 2007. Scientists' best guess, 2 birds standing perfectly in line, 2 birds in a trench coat. The internet lost a decade over it. The Flatwoods Monster, a 10-foot creature with a spade-shaped head, seen after a fireball crashed near a small town in 1952. Most likely explanation, a barn owl, backlit by flashlights, distorted by pure adrenaline into a 10-foot alien nightmare. A bird ruined that entire town's decade. So here's the actual pattern once you strip away the fog machine. Almost every cryptid sighting collapses into the same 3 ingredients: low visibility, high stress, and a brain that would rather invent a monster than admit it doesn't know what it's looking at. Your brain evolved on a savanna where the wrong guess got you killed. Movement in the grass. Could be wind. Could be a lion. The humans who assumed lion and ran survived to have children. The humans who assumed wind and kept eating did not. We are, every single one of us, descended from the paranoid ones. Which means your brain isn't broken when it sees a monster in the dark. It's doing exactly what kept your ancestors alive. It's just extremely bad at updating its firmware for a world with streetlights. We built satellites that can read a license plate from space. We mapped the ocean floor. We sequenced the genome of a housefly. And we still can't let go of the idea that something out there is watching us from the tree line. Maybe that's not ignorance. Maybe that's grief. The unexplored world keeps shrinking, and some part of us refuses to admit the forest ran out of mysteries. So no, you probably won't see Mothman tonight, but if something's watching you from the tree line, glowing eyes, total silence, run first, ask questions later. Statistically, it's just an owl, but statistically isn't a guarantee.
Subscribe, unless you want me showing up in your backyard.